there we go. All right. Whew. All right. Hopefully it won't stick on us. Good morning again, and we'll get started with the text that Super Ant, I spy where it was. Anyway, the text that Daniel read, Matthew 28:18. And Jesus came and spake unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Now, this is after the resurrection of Jesus. Okay, so let's get into the sermon. The title of my presentation is A Stone Too Heavy. And, well, I kind of got that idea from the competition with the strongmen, where they take what they call the Atlas stone. It's a large round stone, and they have to pick it up and put it on the barrel, and they'll do several of them. And I mean, we're talking, hundreds of pounds that they're lifting, and it's quite fun to watch. It's interesting to me that the strongmen, real strongmen, are never these cut, no fat guys. They actually have a little, meat on their bones, so to speak, and so it's kind of interesting to me because I have a little meat on my bones. But anyway, what the whole idea of the power that it takes to lift that stone, I want to transition into what they call the omnipotence paradox. Now, has anybody ever heard of the omnipotence paradox? No? I asked a couple of you guys the question. We'll get into it. But first, omnipotence means what? All power. And of course it refers to God. Only God is omnipotent. So He has all power. And an example of the omnipotence paradox is the paradox of the stone. It's a question, and we'll look at it. Here's the question. I got Mr. Bush scratching his head there. But the question is, can God create a stone too heavy for Him to lift? Okay, I got no's, and I got a yes. But you said no first, so I don't know if that counts. You say no. Okay, this is why it's called a paradox. A paradox is two things that don't seem to work, and yet they do. Okay? So, now, let's look at this question one more time. Can God create a stone? Can He create a stone? Of course, He can create anything He wants, right? So, can God create a stone that's too heavy for Him to lift? Okay, so we still got no's. But what you're doing, though, is you're taking and saying that He can't create something. If He's all powerful, couldn't He create something too heavy for Him to lift? Okay, all right. A lot of people have tried to answer this question, and when I got on YouTube kind of in my research, and I come across this guy right here, Dr. Phillips. Dr. Phillips is a Muslim. Yeah, you can kind of tell. I really like that hat. I would kind of like to have a hat like that. It's pretty neat. But anyway, he is a Muslim, and he dealt with many questions and answered them really well. Very smart guy. I enjoyed it was like an hour long, I think. I watched the whole thing, enjoyed it. I don't agree with him on some views that he has, obviously, because I'm a Christian and he's a Muslim. But when he came to this question, the paradox of the stone, he said that the question was irrelevant, or that, it was really kind of a silly question to ask. And I want to say that I don't think it's a silly question. I think it's a very interesting question, and I'm going to say that he couldn't answer it because his religion wouldn't allow him to answer it. But guess what? My religion will allow me to answer this question. So what is my answer? Are you ready for the answer? Okay, although there is no stone that God cannot lift with ease, He can lift any stone. He did create many that He could not lift. Did everybody catch that? It's still got some funny looks. Yeah, huh? What'd you say? He created many stones of all sizes, and he can lift them all, and yet he also created many that he cannot lift. Are you still puzzled? God created everything, right? Therefore, he has the power to do whatever he wants with everything that he created. And there's nothing that he didn't create, right? Okay. Let's look at a text for that. Oh, it's slowing down on me. Okay. Psalms 33:6. By the word of the Lord were the heavens made, and all the host of them by the breath of his mouth. Not only did he make them, but he just made them by breathing. Now, that's pretty awesome. That is all powerful, right? Okay. Now, if God is all powerful, then the only limitations that he has are the ones he puts on himself, right? Would you agree with that? Okay, like for instance, he will not do evil. Now, he can do evil, right? But he will not. Oh, guys. Oh, my goodness. What?
He cannot do evil.
Okay, well, I guess that's a whole nother sermon I'll have to go into. Woo. I thought this would be an easy one.
What is God?
He is love.
Does love can do evil?
Love chooses not to do evil. Anyway, okay, well, that's not the sermon, so just hush. Okay. Just follow me for a minute here. The only limitations that God has are the ones he puts on himself. Okay? Now, I want to talk about limitations for a second. Imagine that I could shoot electricity out of my fingers. Okay? Just imagine that for a second. And I could shoot it anywhere I wanted to. Except I can't control it. So really, I couldn't shoot it anywhere I wanted to. I can't control it. They come out of my fingers. It's power, right? But I can't control where it goes. So I may end up zapping myself and people I care about. Is that true power? No, right? So the lack of control means that I don't have, really, I'm not all powerful. Does that make sense? So to be all powerful, you have to be able to control your power, right? So self-control equals a personal limitation of that power. You limit where it goes. Is everybody still following me? Okay. So lack of control is also lack of power. It's the same thing. Okay? I'm taking you somewhere. Just put your seatbelt on. So how did God... All right, hold on. Stick with me. So how did God limit himself? And we already talked about the not doing evil, but that's another whole nother thing. Well, it's a philosophical question. So just hang with me. I didn't think I'd have this much trouble out of you guys.
I see where you're going from now, Jay.
Okay, so the answer to the question is Jesus. That's what I'm trying to get you to look at. Okay? How does God limit himself? Now look at this. Are there any stones too heavy for a baby to pick up?
Yeah.
Of course, right? Would you agree with that? Many, many stones. Well, who came as a baby?
Jesus.
Jesus. See, a Muslim couldn't answer this because a Muslim doesn't believe that Jesus is God. But we know from the scripture and from Revelation that Jesus is the Son of God. He is a part of God, right?
Amen.
Right? And so, I mean, this is just so, it's amazing to me that Jesus came down. You know, he was before, but he gave all that up and became a man and was not able to lift the very stones he created. That's exciting. Is anybody excited? Am I the only one in here excited about that? That's pretty cool.